Welcome to another edition of California Triathlon Soup. I'm being told by all the young kids that you should just look down and subscribe. I don't know what that means, but I was told to do that. Today we have special guest Angela Naeth. Welcome, Angela Naeth.
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You have a ton of things you work on, but for the folks that don't know you, for those folks living in a cave, I believe you have 16 70.3 wins and 3 140.6 wins. True or false?
Something like that. So I would say true. Very close.
Well, we're going to talk about that today, and we're going to talk about your connection with, and I guess ownership management of I Race Like a Girl.
Yes, yes, definitely.
We're going to talk about the 2022 season, and by the end of this, we'll talk about some interesting things you're going to do with us relative to our women's only race in Charlottesville on Labor Day weekend. So that's sort of the next 20 some minutes, and I guess we can go right into it. So you had we were talking a little bit earlier. You had an interesting. That's 2018. A very easy. So when COVID hit and it hit everybody, you were like, "Hold my beer. I've already had a little bit of headwind." Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, actually, so my symptoms started at the end of my season in 2017. I was getting some muscle aches and pains, couldn't sleep, had lots of like depression, anxiety. I was just in a lot of pain and it was progressing. In 2 months, so I just kind of chalked it off to, a long season, but the symptoms progressively got worse. And in March and April, I barely could get out of bed and I could barely jog outside my door around the block. And it took a long time to get diagnosed, but I was diagnosed with Lyme disease. And if people don't know what that is, you can get it from ticks, you can get it from mosquitoes even, but it's a bacterial infection that often comes with co-infections, and it just really debilitates you and basically takes over your body. And that's kind of what happened. So once I got diagnosed, it was very freeing to know what was going on. It was really, really tough at first. Went on a slew of antibiotics and medications, and so it was just a year of adversity and I had to kind of put everything on hold, kind of like what we had to do in COVID, and really just treat myself in terms of trying to get back to health. Eventually I did, and throughout that time I was determined to get to the start line of world championships, and it was just my dream goal. And my coach at the time helped me get there, and we've raced probably 4 or 5 Ironmans as I was getting healthier, and it summated to a beautiful, amazing race at Kona. And I mean, it was just something I'm very, very proud of. So it was a long adversity time, and ended with something that was really extravagant to me. So. And
that was end of 2019?
That was the end of 2018. And so then, and then we progressed into COVID, and still had to deal with Lyme's ups and downs. And so when COVID hit, it was, I was still dealing with a lot of different avenues of Lyme and trying to treat it in different ways and stuff. But as you said, hold my beer, because I already went through quite a bit. And so COVID was nothing.
And you're in the training, you live in the training mecca of Massachusetts. Is that right?
I don't know if it's the training mecca. I don't know if there is a training mecca. Massachusetts. So I live currently in Cape Cod. I just moved here actually a couple months ago, and absolutely love it. It's a beautiful place. There's a lot of triathletes here, and I have some good friends and lots of ponds. I mean, I'm pretty excited for the spring and summer, because you can basically open water swim in at least 50 different places. So that's pretty exciting to me.
No, when I talk with that's interesting that there are a lot of triathletes up in the Boston area, Massachusetts area. It seems like every time I talk to a triathlete, a U.S. triathlete, they're in Boulder, they're in San Diego, they're maybe in in Arizona. So it's interesting to know that there are actually pro triathletes up in the Northeast like that.
Yeah, I don't think there's many. I think I'm probably one of few. I moved over here through a relationship originally, and just kind of created some really strong relationships with friends, and I feel at home in terms of the friendships that I've created here. So I would never want to lose those, and those are really important to me. And actually, as a segue to the team, my friendships were created through I Race Like a Girl, and now I don't want to leave anyone. So I'm here.
And we'll have to get back to recently we all experienced, I guess, the 2022 Olympics is being taped on March 4th. So last month was the 2022 Winter Olympics, and you're Canadian. And were you sitting in front of the TV watching what curling? What was it that got your attention?
Yeah, as a Canadian, you would think I would be into curling, but I'm not. I actually don't even know the rules. I loved the hockey. I mean, hockey is kind of our mainstay for Canada. We always want to win. So I definitely was following that. The snowboarding, the skiing, the cross-country skiing. I grew up cross-country skiing, so that was always very fascinating for me to watch just how impressive they are. The biathlon, I mean, being able to ski, and then really calm your body and be able to shoot a gun is phenomenal to me. So I kind of watch a little bit of everything, but really rooting for our hockey team. I think that's just kind of the Canadian root in me to make sure we get that win.
If it wasn't then triathlon, would biathlon be the thing that if you had to pick a winter sport to excel at, would that be the thing you think you'd probably do the best at?
No, I would be terrible at hockey because I can't really skate. I think if I were to choose a sport, it would be cross-country skiing or skate skiing. That's more of a up my alley in terms of an endurance sport. So.
Well, you mentioned I Race Like a Girl, and that is an exciting team. So 500 members all around the country. Why don't you talk a little bit how it started and what all the members of that team experience every year?
Yeah, so it started about 5 years ago. I was kind of going through a divorce, and really kind of fell in a position of I moved to Boulder, Colorado. I mean, I did have friends there and stuff, but I felt a little lost in triathlon. And so I started thinking, what and why did I join or become a triathlete, and why did I fall in love with triathlon? And it was really about the community. And over the years, I was provided a lot of homestays where I would be connected with a family that was near a race, and I would stay at their house, and I would become good friends with them by the end. And so I had this huge collection of people all over the country that I was so grateful for. And I was like, how can I give back to the community? And I'm always empowered by different women in sport, and always wanted to help out others get into the sport. When I was growing up, my mom wasn't really an athlete, and she saw me running and cycling and swimming, and I slowly got her in the pool. I slowly got her on her bike, and she was running with me. And so it was just kind of something that fell into place that I just absolutely had a big passion for. So I kind of put all that together and created I Race Like a Girl. The name kind of comes from the fact that we lose our funness, I guess, as we get older sometimes. And that's the little girl inside every female athlete. And I wanted to bring that back. So we race like a girl in the sense that, you know, it's about fun. It's about bringing that joy back to why we race. And so I'm pretty empowered by our name and what we stand for. And it's really about embracing that, you know. So that's kind of where the I Race Like a Girl came from. So since then, we have, again, probably 200 to 300 women on that team. I do have another team for gravel riding as well, but I met so many great friends on that team so far. And again, that's why I'm here on the East Coast, because a lot of them that I've connected with live here, and I just wouldn't want to leave them. So we connect at races. We have our own private platform. A lot of my sponsors and partners have come on board and provided us free product and gear and support. So it's really a great way for me to give back to a community that has given me so much.
It sounds wonderful. Now, where can I be? Can I race? Can I race like a girl?
You can race like a girl if you align yourself as a female. So if you do, then by all means, you can jump on board.
No, that's it's interesting. I had this conversation with an athlete the other day on the West Coast, and different segments. Just because you have segments doesn't mean it's exclusionary. There's certain things where there's a group of triathletes that I know that are Filipino, and it's a great community of athletes, and the food is really good after the race. By the way, it's worth the membership just for the eats. So it's interesting to create like these niches, whether it's beginners or there's obviously all these niches relative to maybe it's a location, a team that's based in a certain place. I think it can cut across all demographics and things like that. So youth teams, et cetera, et cetera. So you never get any complaints that it's exclusion or anything, do you?
I think someone introduced, wrote me one time in terms of that, and we are very inclusive to everyone that is or relates to a female side. But again, it's I really like to focus on empowering females and anyone that relates to that. So that's my only email I've ever had.
Well, we agree with that, and in terms of CalTri events, we will have about 10,000 athletes, say, this year, and unfortunately, it's about a 60-40 split. So in our world, if there were 6,000 men and boys and 4,000 women and girls, we're searching for the 2,000 women and girls to make it 50-50. We're not doing a good enough job to extend outreach. So one of the events we're doing this year, one of the races this year, is in Charlottesville, 2022 CalTri Charlottesville on Labor Day weekend, September 4th, and it's a women's only race. We have a lot of races in Virginia, so to have the women's only race, we wanted it to be really specific, and we have a organizing committee, and the men are invited to volunteer that day.
Awesome.
So I've invited you to come down for that weekend and be part of that. And I'd love to talk to you about what you'll be doing to support those athletes on their journey for September 4th in Charlottesville, because I think it's really exciting and a chance for some of them, many of them are first timers, to interact with you on their first journey of triathlon.
Yeah, I'm really honored and excited about this opportunity for September 4th. So what we spoke about it earlier, but I'll be helping to provide a 12-week training program toward the race, with some Zoom calls and Facebook live feeds. So throughout the time frame from when you register to all the way to the race day, I'll be there to help support you and provide you a nice fun training program, answer any questions. There's tons to learn if this is one of your first races. So that may or may not include nutrition, setting up transition, all sorts of things. And then I am coming down, and I haven't yet decided if I'm participating or not, but I think I will, because I can't not. But I definitely want to be there for the athletes as well. So if I can do both, then I'm going to do both. If I just am there to help support everyone, then I'm 100% there as well. And being able to just be there for the start, pre-start, have some great talks and connections. I'm pretty excited. It's a huge passion of mine to get people into the sport, and just see what it's all about and experience it. It's once you do your first, you're pretty much addicted. So I hope.
And that race is a pool swim, which is currently our only pool swim. It's a sprint course. The bike is actually, it's hilly. And the run is a nice out and back. So I think that my understanding is you'll come down for the clinic on Saturday morning, then be there for the race. And whether you race or not, I think it'll be appreciated. And we'll make sure to put a bunch of information about that 90-day coaching program on our website. So that coaching program will probably start the beginning of June for an early July race, and it'll be a nominal fee that folks can add into their purchasing cart when they buy that race. So we're really excited to have you, and it's a capped race. We feel like it'll sell out pretty early, and we want it to be really sort of intimate and fun with a lot of support. I will say this: there's a really good chance that every finisher will not only get a medal, but will be getting a fine bottle of wine. So
wow, that's amazing.
And by fine bottle, it's probably like a $2 Chuck with a Cal Triathlon label on it, but that's not really.
You're honest. At least you're honest.
Yeah, that's not important. Like if you decide that you're desperate and need to drink it one night, that was somebody else's problem. So we really appreciate that. Now, in terms of 2022, I wanted to hear about what your plans are. Professional triathlete, you have big plans for this year. You've got to pay the bills. Tell me what your plans are.
Yeah, my biggest plan. So I started another team called Girls Get Gritty Gravel Racing, and it's also mountain biking. So last year I jumped into some gravel riding and absolutely fell in love with it. And so there was an opportunity to apply for a special event series made by Lifetime Grand Prix, and it's 5 races throughout the country, either on a gravel bike or a mountain bike. And they took 35 women and 35 males. So I'm part of that. So that's pretty exciting and takes me way out of my element in terms of the mountain biking. So part of that is building out Girls Get Gritty a bit more, obviously continue with I Race Like a Girl and do that series with Lifetime Grand Prix. I'm obviously through and through an Ironman athlete. And so I have qualified for Ironman World Championships for 2021, which was transferred into St. George this May. So my goal is to do well there and hopefully qualify that race for 2022 World Championships in Kona. If not, I will definitely race another Ironman and just continue to try to qualify for that race. A few halves and just some fun events locally. So I already have a ton on my plate when you add all that up. So it should be fun. And then along the way, I also coach athletes and will be part of their race season and goals, and hopefully get to some of those races. And some of them align with mine as well. So that's always fun. So it's a lot on the plate, but that's what keeps me happy and smiling and passionate about life. So that's what it's about.
Well, at the end of the year, you'll have to tell me what was more prestigious, one of the 2 Ironman World Championships or Cal Tri Charlottesville. Like that's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah.
So we are huge fans of Lifetime. I think they do endurance about as well as you could ask anybody. A couple of years ago, I think in New York, there was too much temperature, too much heat. They had to cancel. Everybody got a refund. This is a organization that, is just a top class organization. Now, back in the day, I guess a few years ago, they had more triathlon. I think they only have 2 triathlons left, New York and Chicago. And they've made that pivot to things like gravel and trail running, et cetera, et cetera. I think they have about 30 events now, 30 races. Where are the 5 gravel races, if I may ask?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, the first one is in California. The second one, off the top of my head.
I put you on the spot.
You did put me on the spot, but they are all over. There's one in Utah. There's one, and Another one.
Okay. I'm sorry.
We're all over.
Yeah, we won't really edit that because that would
Okay.
require too much effort, but everybody just ignore that I asked that question. I apologize. Well, the last thing that I wanted to cover is in terms of community. When you start talking about community and folks that are coming into your community, what is the ethos that is the driver for I Race Like a Girl, Girls Get Gritty? What is the theme? Help us, with the recipe for eventually getting to 50-50, attracting more women to our sport. What are the mistakes that organizations make that you've seen, and what are some of the things that we should be doing in order to give women and young women and girls a better chance of success at triathlon and multisport?
Yeah, so the team itself is really an opportunity for women to support women. I find that a lot of the times, sometimes racing experience is not always there, or some women are intimidated or just don't know how, or they're really busy with family and don't know how to connect with other women. And so part of why I created the teams was to create that, and so that when you go to an event, you have support no matter what. And I think events themselves, kind of exactly what you're doing, is creating events that can create that inclusivity among women. Because when you go to a race and you know that you're going to have the support there or a connection, it just makes it so much easier and more exciting and fun. And I think a lot of race directors and races can really look at women-only races and also create some type of pre-event, like a breakfast or brunch, so that women can get together. I think right now, because there is such an offset sometimes with the male versus female side of things, creating little groups like that and dynamics where women can connect with others or learn about the sport really creates a community and growth in that arena, so that more women can be on the start line and feel confident that they can race and have fun along the way.
We've actually, we have a really nice committee that's being led by a woman in the Charlottesville area, Julie Basic, and it's actually opened up from an organizational point of view, more people that not only will probably support this one race, but probably our whole organization. And our experience is that the biggest contributors, some of the biggest contributors in our organization have been women. And we just couldn't, it's the vice president of California Triathlon, Kim Deegan's been around for years and does endless work. And without women, our organization couldn't even, we just couldn't even survive. So we're hoping to use, some of these races, not only to support the community, but also to get those women's voices in our organization moving forward. So I think if we see more success with this, then I think you'll see us expand that nationally on the West Coast and the Southwest and in the Midwest.
Very cool. I love it. Yeah, more growth with women, the better.
Yeah, and well, I really appreciate that. Is there anything else that you want to cover before we wrap this up? Any thoughts about what, one of the things that I loved this year, I've been talking to in any of our podcasts for season 5. By the way, down button and subscribe. Again, I have no idea what that is, but all my students here at the college say I should do that. Is there anything that you're seeing from a trend point of view, like you're spending time with Gravel and Lifetime? I haven't heard you're doing Ironman. I haven't heard anything related to PTO. Tell me what that is. We just did an interview with an athlete a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about PTO. Are you going to be spending time with PTO this year?
It's kind of up for debate. So the Professional Triathlete Organization is really trying to create avenues for professional athletes to race, and they have a point system, so that within the context of the point system, if you do really well, you can get paid out. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of an issue on my end because I'm not in the high ranking right now. I couldn't race a lot in the last couple of years, or the last year even, just because of the Lyme stuff and everything. And the invites for the races that are coming on board are really for the ones that are already ranked. And so someone like me, is very hard for me to even apply to be on those start lines, which is really frustrating. So it's kind of a bit of a controversy in terms of, in my head, because they're there for all the professionals, yet we don't have the opportunity to race at their races. So
if I may, obviously I have to believe for Ironman, I really don't know much about this, but if you race Ironman and do well there, you probably get points. If you do a
Yes.
lifetime event, do you get points there?
I don't believe so, no. So they haven't looked at the lifetime gravel races and stuff. The PTO is really just more about the triathlon events.
Okay, and it's select triathlon events. It's not, if there were 800 races in the United States, it's not all 800, it's a select number. And then also, I think there's some globally as well. Obviously, it's a international. So when you talk about the top, say 40 or 50 women, that's 40 or 50 women, not in the US, it's 40 or 50 women globally that would get these invites.
Yes, yeah, and you have to be in the top ranking, so the top 40.
Okay. So
and those rankings are based on last year's results, and then they continue to go throughout the monthly process, I believe. So there's a few races upcoming that if you're ranked in the top 25 or 40 or whoever they're inviting to the race, you're automatically allowed to go. And then there's a few wild cards, but those are selected on the committee. And I don't really know the rules or what the process that is, but they're supposed to email us and see if we are interested. But that hasn't been solidified yet.
Do you want to do a shout out for any of your, as a wrap up, any of the sponsors who take care of you? And also probably, I would love to know, like pre-Lyme, pre-COVID, post-Lyme, post-COVID, which sponsors have been there through it all? They don't care. They love Angela. And they just don't care. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, definitely. My sponsors have been amazing. They've been through thick and thin with me. And really, when you look at sponsors, it's not just about race results. It's about what you're bringing to the community and how your return of investment is for each company. And, I am very, very passionate in this sport. I love triathlon. I've been going into gravel and I'm infatuated with it. So I think in the context of my partners and sponsors, they really look at the all-inclusive of what I bring to the table. And that's including, I Race a Good Girl, Girls Get Ready. I love activation events. I'll basically will do anything for my partners because I believe in their products. So Quintano Roo, my bike company, Shimano has been with me since I started triathlon. It's been amazing. And Pearl Izumi, Moxie Life. I just started with the feed as a high performance team athlete. That's really for the lifetime gravel events. So I'm really excited about that. Topo Athletic, Fit Biomix, which create a probiotic, which I've been using since I've had Lyme, which has been fantastic. Juice Performer, Power Bar, Blue 70, Laser, Atalanta. So it's been fantastic. A lot of them have been with me for a long time. And I think it's just a build on each year that we create something special and unique. And I am 100% with them for everything, as they are with me.
Yeah, the common sponsors with Caltri events are, from that list that I just heard, was Blue 70, John Duquette, and so John and crew provide and have for years every swim cap for our races, and then the feed is a relatively new relationship, and then this year they're going to be providing these lovely water bottles for all the different athletes. And then there's a $20 free food that goes with it, which sounds really good. Now I love my Caltri events, the feed water bottle, but as being a guest, you will you will have one of these shipped to you. This is a 23-ounce California Triathlon soup mug. It could be tea, it could be coffee. 23 ounces is a lot of coffee. So when you're up in Massachusetts, a lot of coffee. So, you know, maybe I could see some soup, some cocoa, maybe some oatmeal, something like that. This is going to be your go-to mug, I promise you.
All right, that's awesome. I love mugs.
Well, if there's anything else, let us know. But thank you so much, Angela Naeth, professional triathlete, gravel, the mistress of gravel.
Hopefully, yes.
Yes, we're going to come up with all kinds of nicknames, most of which will be appropriate. We'll ask folks to send them in, and we're going to be rooting for you this year in everything you do. And we look forward to seeing you on September 4th in Charlottesville. Awesome. Thank you again, Angela.
Thank you.